Hi everybody, my name is Rishabh Sood and I represent Rapyd. Today we will be discussing about a specific service which Rapyd offers, which is called Collect. Before I start, I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what Rapyd is before I go into the services we offer. Rapyd is actually world's largest Fintech-as-a-Service platform, what we call a fast platform. And to put it in context, Rapyd has done for fintech what probably cloud has done for IT. So we are like the AWS of payments, if I can put it that way. And that gives us, how do we do that is primarily by ensuring that we can provide you a platform. So this platform is primarily based on global APIs, which are enabled for you, which connect to over around 900 different payment types and over 400 banks and FIs. So at the back end, we are connected to all these entities, while at the front end, we enable you through a single API to connect to all these entities and help you collect and make payments practically anywhere in the world. This platform again is based on 4 key pillars, which you can right now see. So these pillars are primarily our collect capability, which basically means that we can collect money from anywhere in the world and settle it to you in any currency you want. The second platform is, of course, Disburse, where we can actually collect all these funds and also disburse funds anywhere in the world for you. So it's not just a single process. We can not only collect, we can also disburse. And this collection and disbursement capability sits on top of an infrastructure we have created, which is called the Rapyd Wallet. So it's a white label infrastructure product, which allows you to collect payments and hold them in various currencies, and then push out this money through our disburse model anywhere in the world. And the last pillar, of course, is our capability to do issuing in certain countries, which allows you to create a customer engagement model. So you can not only disburse money into the wallets, you can also enable your customers or your vendors or your partners to actually hold your cards, branded cards from your organization, and use those cards for payments. So these are the key 4 platforms on which Rapyd is based. Now we'll jump directly into, now that we've spoken about Rapyd, we want to look closely as to what's happening in the e-commerce world and why is that important to you. While we also look at why it's important to you as a merchant, we also need to understand what role Rapyd plays in this entire ecosystem and this new world. And the latest reports we've seen from FNF research shows that cross-border commerce is going to be the key driver for most volumes for large e-commerce, large or medium-sized e-commerce merchants. It's expected currently I think 2021, we're looking at close to around $1 trillion worth of trade happening through cross-border. And there's expectation that there's a CAGR growth of around 27% year on year in this volume. So by 2026, it's estimated that the total volume of cross-border commerce will be close to 5 trillion. And why is that important to you? The key reason is that cross-border commerce gives you access to new markets. It gives you access to a diverse customer base who might have more discretionary power in terms of spending. They might be able to buy more of your products. You are reaching to a new market which you've not gone to before, and thus you are actually expanding globally. And what research has also shown is, as you go into newer markets, it's the local payment modes which actually make your costs more efficient, because they're cheaper than cards. It's easier for you to accept those payments and collect those payments. So cross-border e-commerce is going to be a key changer. But again, as we said, the key challenges to cross-border collection would be firstly scaling the integration, because if you're currently integrated to 3 or 4 countries, as you go cross-border and go into multiple countries, it means more work for your team at the back end. They will have to basically integrate with multiple service providers, create multiple contracts. And that has its own challenges, which could include, security and fraud risks, because you're entering new markets, you're offering new products of to accept payments, but you are not aware as to what are the fraud risks you might expose yourself to. And finally, the entire, financial, operational, and compliance challenges which come with cross-border collection, because the legislations, the regulations in different countries are, varied. In some markets, you can accept payments and you can operate without having an legal entity there. In some markets, you can't. You will need to open bank accounts, give bank guarantees in certain markets to operate. So this opens a new set of challenges when you go cross-border. And finally, as you sell across different markets, you have to ensure that there's not only the orchestration of the payments, but also the vendors who you're supplying to or who are supplying to you. So it brings its own sets of challenges. And what is important at this point is probably to understand what are the keys to making sure that you succeed in this industry when you go into new markets. And research has shown that localization is the key to success for all cross-border e-commerce. And when you say localization, there are 6 key elements to this localization. The first is your ability to offer local payment methods. So if you're going into Germany, which is a Western market, but you have to understand that probably 80% of the customers are used to paying by gyro pay, which is actually a bank transfer. Or if you go into Australia, your ability to offer Poly, which is a bank transfer, becomes very important, or Klarna or eNets in Singapore, or Ideal in Netherlands. So your ability to offer local payment method makes it far easier for you to localize your services. The second, of course, is local currencies. So if you were looking at selling into Indonesia and you're not able to offer local currencies as a mode of payment, that brings its own challenges. On top of that, the language barrier, if you are not able to sell your services and offer language support in terms of your website, because a lot of browser translation sometimes leaves a lot of things lacking in your understanding or customers' understanding of the service. Fourthly, what kind of access do you want to provide to your customer? Where do you want your customer to access your website from? Is it going to be a mobile web, or is it being app-based? In some markets, mobile web is more popular, whereas in some markets it's app-based where the customer is more comfortable. And finally, 2 very important critical part of your localization has to be your shipping and fulfillment capabilities. So you have a product on your website, you can offer it to somebody in another country, but how are you going to fulfill that? And finally, how are you going to support your customer? There might be returns, there might be refunds. So all these 6 key elements are very important in terms of localization. Having said that, coming to doing a little bit of deep dive in terms of online payments, what we've seen that 70% of the online payments are made via local payment methods. But it is important to recognize the relevance of not just the local payment method, but also the form of payment. So different markets have different adoption levels for cards, e-wallets, cash, or bank transfers. So even in a market like, if you look at something like APAC, you will notice in this slide that different markets have different affinity towards the kind of payment products they want to accept. So this bar graph demonstrates how in APAC itself, for example, Japan and Taiwan are very card-focused markets. Yet they also have a big affinity towards cash, in-store, 7-Eleven kind of payment mechanism. Whereas if you look at Singapore, which is again a very card-heavy market, the reliance on cash payments for e-commerce is almost negligible. So I think hyper-localization of your services is going to be important. You have to know what are you offering and to whom you're offering, and what are the currency you're offering it in. So if you're going to Indonesia, it's not just Indonesian rupiah, but there's a capability and there's an affinity towards using US dollar as a mode of payment. So do you offer US dollar also as a mode of payment is going to be important. So if you really want to crack this cross-border collections requirement, the key to ensuring that is that the payment orchestration happens smoothly and efficiently. And you want to reduce as many number of touch points, which are required for a customer for you to collect money from. So the lesser the number of integrations, the lesser number of touch points in terms of customer or your integration requirements with the local payment methods, the more efficient your entire process of actually enhancing your cross-border collections would be. And this is where Rapyd comes in as a single interface for all your collections. So through one single integration, we can actually help you either through an API or SDK, create a super app where you can actually collect payments from anywhere in the world and offer all kind of localization services, including KYC, AML, and ensure that the user experience remains consistent across services. What this also does is it basically reduces the complexity because we manage the entire local licensing, compliance, and regulation requirements for you to be able to offer your products in those markets. So from the perspective of a merchant, your work is far reduced in terms of what is required to go into a new market. We take care of all that headache. All you need to focus is making sure that you're localized enough and you're offering all the services which are required. So what is actually Rapyd Collect? And that's the product I'm talking about today. So Rapyd Collect is basically a platform where we offer where you can actually collect cash, card payments, e-commerce, e-wallets, bank transfers directly through one single integration to us. So you don't need to build separate integrations for bank transfers. You don't need to open bank accounts. We do all of that for you. And how we do that is by basically connecting at the back end to over 900 payment types, around 2,000 bank accounts. We have around 2 million cash collection disbursement, connections. So this ensures that all the groundwork which is done for you, you do not have to move a finger to actually be able to sell in another market. And that's the beauty we bring to it. Some of the key markets, if you look at our reach, we can offer you collection services across almost all the 100 plus markets, which are effectively the big markets for e-commerce. And just on the Asia side, just to give you a flavor, you have all these payment types available in your markets or in your neighboring markets where you can offer these and actually collect cash or any other form of payment and have it delivered to you. The classic use cases we see is usually e-commerce sites. So we have a lot of customers who are collecting cross-border payments. We work with a lot of gig platforms, and that's because of our ability to actually disburse funds, not only collect funds. The other third area where we've seen a lot of traction is fintech and banking, where customers are looking at collecting money from various investors and actually disbursing money out to them as and when they liquidate their funds, liquidate their stocks. So these are the classic use cases we've seen. As I said earlier, we can basically collect funds through all the local preferred methods, whether it's cash over the counter, prepaid debit cards, bank transfers, e-wallets. And we can also disperse funds in your locally preferred ways. So we actually help you complete the loop by not only collecting funds for you, we can also disperse in all the payment modes which are available, which are there on the right-hand side. So this completes the loop for you in terms of, if you're looking at a marketplace, or if you're a marketplace, or if you're looking at not only collecting, but there are certain disbursement requirements across, we can ensure that we can do this for you. And to do all this in a compliant manner, we have our own end-to-end KYC and AML platform. So it's geared for all the markets. So we are aware of what are the requirements in specific markets from a KYC requirement perspective. So we can collect those documents, do that authentication for you to ensure that not only when you're collecting, but when you're disbursing, you are compliant. The people or the entity you're settling to are compliant also. Finally, if you're looking at building a super app, Rapyd is the name you should be working with, because we can not only do hyperlocal payments, we do the digital identity verification, we create the wallets for you, we can actually manage the foreign exchange for you and settle all the funds for you. And that's what is the most amazing thing about Rapyd. We can do all of this to you through one single integration. That's all for today, guys. If you have any questions, please do feel free to get back to us. Thank you for your time.